To
The semis.
semifinals. We have Dice Forge versus Quacks, right?
No, Dice Forge versus Dominions, Quacks versus Clank.
Is that how that worked? Okay.
Yep.
Then let me move these around because I have the bracket completely broken. Okay. Dice Forge versus Dominion and Quacks versus Clank. Okay. We're gonna start
The
with Dice
semifinals
Forge.
is gonna I could see one that's pretty easy, but this other one, that's gonna be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we gonna talk Dominion and Dice Forge first?
Yep. The 1 seed the 8 seed versus the 3 seed? Yeah, the 3 seed.
All right, let's get started then. I'll go ahead and take Dominion.
And I'll take Dice Forge and you can go ahead and start.
Okay. So there is one big thing or disadvantage that Dice Forge has compared to Dominion. If I buy a card in Dominion, I know I'm eventually going to get it. Dice Forge, if I buy a dice face, it's likely I'll get it, but I may never roll it ever in the game. Ever.
Story of my life.
The story of your life. and to have that level of variability of not knowing what you're going to roll means that even though Dice Forge has a wonderful little combination of dice, it has that variability of not guaranteeing what you're rolling versus guaranteeing a card that you will draw. There is one exception to that, is that if you build a large deck and it is near the end of the game, then sure, you might not draw that card. But had the game continued, you definitely would have. It's a guarantee. Where you might just roll bad and be out of luck in Dice Forge. And then if we're talking variability, yes, Dice Forge does have the other cards that you put in. They have like the advanced modes, but
that's just in the base game too. You have the advanced mode cards,
right? But in the base game for
Dominion, you need the expansions to make it better.
No. It's good out of the box, but you have 30 different kingdom cards that you have a constant change. I'm sorry, not 30. It's 25 different kingdom cards that you can constantly manipulate in and out, and they do interact with each other differently. So I might go heavily on markets and villages and Dominion, and I'm racking up those extra actions and drawing cards and extra actions and drawing cards and building that extra combo. Whereas Dice Forge, I roll my dice. Oh, I can copy somebody else's. I'll copy yours. And that's it. Like, oh, but if I buy this card, I get a one-time bonus roll. Oh, okay, cool. I'll do that. But that's it. It's not, you're not going to have that perpetual motion that you can have in Dominion.
Well, the thing is, you can get that perpetual motion. I mentioned it earlier in the last argument with Dice Forge. You can load up one dice to be your big die, where you're putting your victory points in your big, I forget what they're called, shards.
Yeah.
You can put your big shards on that one, and then you can make your other die.
Or moon.
Yeah.
Moon something.
It's sun and moon.
Yeah.
Sunstones and moonstones, I think is what it is, or shards. Actually, sun shard and moon shards, I think it's what it's called, actually.
Yeah, something like that.
And so you can make that one where it's your big one, and then you can make your other dice support. I've seen it work, and I've seen people win. So this way, it helps mitigate that luck, as you were saying in it, where it's like, okay, I'm rolling my 2 dice. Oh, look, I got the mirror face on this one, which means I get to times my victory points times 3, so I'm getting 12 victory points at the just for rolling these 2 dice. And it's all about the mitigation, how you build your dice, and that's why I think Dice Forge does their I guess pool building very well. It's because you get to mitigate. Yeah, like you were saying in Dominion, if you build yourself a big deck, you're not going to see some of those cards. Whereas in Dice Forge, once you get towards the end game, if you built your dice smartly, they're going to be effective even if you're a bad roller. Hell, I'm not getting a lot of money. I'm getting too much money. Let's take these money dice or these money faces off. This way I can start building something better. And so, like, one of my favorite combos that I saw is someone put the ×3 dice or face on one of their die, and they got I think it was a 4-player game, so they got 2 of the cards. So on opposite ends, like how you would have a 4 and a 3, they had their ×3.
Okay.
So this way they had a good chance of one way or another rolling it. And so what they did, they also, because at the beginning of the game, they were rolling a lot of money, so they ended up buying that really big one in the 12 where it's like 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. They kept rolling the ×3 with the 1 + 1 + 1, and it gave them 3 gold, gave them 3 victory points, gave them 3 shards or whatever of both shards, and eventually they just started getting their engine building. And that's the thing about Dice Forge is that you can mitigate the luckiness of it by putting the right dice faces in the right way, building yourself a support die, building yourself a power die, and I truly think Dice Forge did something that Rattlebone started and made it better with the dice building. I guess dice building.
Yeah, there's no question about that. It beats out as far as which is a better game between Rattlebone and Dice Forge. There's a reason Dice Forge is sailed when Rattlebones kind of disappeared. But the truth is though, you can mitigate it to a degree. The dice rolling. You can mitigate it to a degree. But if you're still rolling garbage throughout the entire beginning of the game,
you take the garbage out.
You can't afford to do it because you're rolling garbage.
Actually, if you're rolling garbage, you can afford to take those dice face out because there's so much gold on the original dice faces. How many sides to a die? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 sides to 6-sided die.
So you roll two gold.
And on one die, there's 5 gold on that one. There's 9 gold at the start of the game.
Yeah.
You're going to constantly roll gold. And remember, you're rolling on everybody's turn, so just in that first turn alone, I can get better dice.
Let's think of it this way. Let's say you and I are both doing this. This is a hypothetical. We're both rolling 2 gold every turn, right? And then on my turn, let's say I buy the 4 gold spot and I put it on there.
See, you're saying it's a 2-player game. There's a difference in a 2-player game.
No, true, but there's another player. But let's say on my turn, I get the 4 gold space, or even the 6 gold, and I start rolling that every turn. If I'm lucky, that could happen. Whereas if you bought that phase 2 and you're unlucky and you're rolling it, it's not a guarantee you'll get it. And that
but see, the thing you're arguing, the thing you're saying is. Yeah, I could be unlucky in not getting that dice face, but I'm still accruing something that I can use to help me later. Yeah, even if I'm still accruing money, I'm going to get up to where I can get the maximum level and start buying the bigger dice. And then if I get to the extensions, I can get up to, I think it's 12, 16, 20. I can end up buying one of the big ones and one of the smaller ones, or like the 12 and the 8s, to make my dice better. And if I just have one where it's strictly to help me get gold to get dice faces, and then one that's just straight up power, I know I'm going to get something good every turn just because of one of these dice faces.
So if you're saying that if you and I both, let's say in a game, if you and I both bought like the 6 gold dice face, which I think there's actually only one. So
yeah, there's no way we can both buy it.
Let's say that we both buy the 4 gold, right? And every turn I'm rolling it, and every turn you're not, at the end of the game, you would be okay saying that I outplayed you. You saying that I played better.
There's another way to mitigate that too. Even if you're buying the gold. Gold does you nothing at the end of the game. So if you're too determined to go up there and buy that gold, I may go over there and get victory points. I may go over there and get cards.
I want to make sure of this. You're saying that if I roll better numbers than you, and it's very clear that I'm rolling better dice faces, that you're willing to say that I outplayed you because of that random chance.
Yeah.
That I had a better strategy going.
Because what you're saying is rolling is important in the game. But there's ways to mitigate it because you may be rolling money and you're buying better money and you're rolling it better, but the money doesn't do you any good. I can nickel and dime you by hitting these smaller cards because they're going to give me victory points.
If you buy a better brake system for your car, it's not good if you don't have a chance of not using it. It doesn't make a better engine.
What you're forgetting is that each of the cards are worth points too. So you may be rolling a lot of money to go buy yourself dice face and help you get a better chance of beating me. But if I'm nickel and diming you and buying all the lower level cards that are giving me 8, 6, 5 points, I have a way to mitigate that fact that because you're rolling good, I'm rolling crap and I'm only getting these small amounts, but I'm nickel and diming and making sure you can get to these cards.
But not nearly to the effect that Dominion has. Dominion has that ability to out your strategies in Dominion are more solid than it is.
To argue your point about Dominion is it comes into the same rules like a lot of the older games get. if someone is new to the game or is playing against someone who's very familiar with the game, you can get steamrolled.
But that doesn't
Dice,
make it a worse game.
it does though.
It
It
can
makes
make
it
it less fun, but
It
it
makes
doesn't
it.
make it
But see,
worse.
the whole point of gaming itself is to have fun.
But that we're arguing which is the better deck builder, and deck builder or pool building is better in Dominion, where you have the variability in Dice Forge to
I'm
not know
sorry.
what you get.
I'm not voting Dominion on this one. I think it's themeless. I think it's
I'll give you
boring.
that. All right. Let's start. Theme. Okay, we'll give it to Dice Forge. All right, I'll give you that. Art and production.
Mechanism,
Yes,
we're
Dice
going to
Forge.
argue in circles. Let's go ahead and call this a push on this one because
No,
I think this
the
is where our
mechanism-
argument is breaking down.
The mechanism needs to go to Dominion because you will get every card that you buy. If the game is long enough, you will. It's a guarantee. You will get any card that you buy and add to your deck. Dice Forge, you might not.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily make it a better mechanism.
That's the reason why Gin Rummy and Cribbage is better than War. It's the random. It's a better mechanism. It's more solid. And clearly,
We'll go back to that one because I can't give it to Dominion on
right.
Mechanism wise.
Meaningful choices.
There's deck builders that do that mechanism that that Dominion has better. Art and production, I think, goes to Dice Forge.
Yes, agreed. Art, meaningful choices, I think, is a tie.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Now here comes the replayability. Yes,
Dominion.
it's expandable.
Dominion.
I've seen more people say they'd rather replay Dice Forge than play Dominion, and the big part of it too is the time frame.
No, it's Dominion.
It's not Dominion.
It's hands
honestly
down Dominion. Dominion is easily the replayable game because of it is now up to like 1,000 different cards. You have 20 different dice faces.
You're running in circles here because you're saying not including expansions, and now you're including expansions.
Okay. Expansion aside, 25 kingdom cards versus like 20 different dice faces.
So, but
therefore, replayability goes to Dominion.
Replayability isn't just about you can change it out. Replayability is about okay, how quickly can we get to the table again to replay it? In Dice Forge, I've had more people replay that. I think I've played Dominion once, and I just did not have fun with that.
Well, regardless of whether you had fun, it doesn't make it less replayable. I mean, you didn't like it because it didn't have theme.
I didn't like it at theme, and I didn't like it because, let's just put it this way, I wouldn't replay it again.
Because it's ugly. And I hand that to you. I give that point to you.
Honestly, we're going to go ahead and move Dominion on because we're going to argue this in circles. And the only reason I'm giving it to Dominion is because of the people's choice.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's significant, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, to me, out of these two games, the Dominion just, it's a bad game.
No, it's one of the best, and
I wouldn't say it's one of the best, honestly. It's one of the first, but there's deck builders that do what Dominion did better. Hell, Legendary is just as expandable, and I'd rather play Legendary.
Right. Yeah, because it's co-op and it has a better theme. I give you that.
Well, I don't. Okay, you want to say that isn't co-op? I'd play Ascension hands down over Dominion. I'd play Star Realms over Dominion. I'd play Clank over Dominion.
But they're not better games.
Oh, they're much better games.
They're not.
Much better games.
All right.
You're having nostalgia on this.
Let's give it to Dominion. I agree.
I'll give it to Dominion, and it's just because of the people's choice, honestly.
Yeah. All right. So
now let's do Quacks versus Clank.
Well, I mean, okay. Let's just think about this for a minute.
Before we even get to the debate of Quacks versus Clank, I mean, we should, but we spent a lot of time on the last one. We both agree. I know we both agree which is the better game on this one and does it better.
Yeah.
And that's Quacks. And nothing against Clank, and we've talked about this. I honestly think Clank shouldn't have been in this round. And no matter who went into this one, Hogwarts or Clank, I think Quacks would have beat it hands down.
Right.
Because, one, Quacks does more meaningful choices.
Yes.
Quacks does, let's just go with our tiebreaker. Quacks has a better and more unique theme than Clank, because Clank is basically a deck building dungeon crawl.
Yeah.
with a little push your
Where
luck.
Quacks is
But
a
the push your luck
potion.
part of it is better than Quacks.
Yeah, exactly. No, because they both boil on the fact that it's a push your luck thing.
Yeah,
Clank is an
the
overall
mechanism.
push your luck, where Quacks is a
Yeah,
push your luck every turn.
arts and production, I would probably give a push here because Clank is a pretty game, and
Yeah,
so is Quacks.
yeah,
I think what helps Quacks of Quinlanburg is the upgraded pieces, but you have to pay extra for those. Uh,
yeah. I that makes the production better. I think the art, like I like how colorful and
oh
happy
no, 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 don't have.
Quacks
But I would
is,
say it's a
but
push
Clank
because
is still
I mean,
really good looking.
yeah, meaningful choices. Quacks gives you because everything's
Yes.
there. You
Yeah.
you know what's there. And replayability, I think, because Quacks, it is a little bit longer, but more people would probably play this. Like when I played Clank, I was just like, huh, that was fun. Haven't played it since.
Right.
Quacks of Cleveland, again, I played it once, but I sit there and think, man, I could really go and playing Quacks right now because it's that. When you're thinking push your luck,
Yeah.
I'm going to choose Quacks of Quinlanburg on that aspect too,
Yeah.
just because it gives me that pool building that I like, or the bag building like Orleans has, but it also gives me that, ooh, do I want to pull this?
Right. But then also, if you think about it, let's say push your luck has that hinge of, if you push your luck too far, how bad does it penalize you? In Quacks, you just get either victory points or money to buy new tokens. Whereas if you push your luck too hard in Clank, your character dies.
Yeah,
Ugh.
and that's
That's
another thing about
punishing.
Clank because there is player elimination in it. It's very rare that it's going to happen, but there is player
Yep.
elimination.
Yep. So I agree. The semifinals between Quacks and Clank will be the Clanks of Quedlinburg. Quacks of Quedlinburg. That goes on.
Yeah,
Which
no, I don't disagree there.
brings us down to the final.